Get ready for 2 hours of hard-hitting football talk, straight from their jocks about the jocks. It's Football on the Know with Jim and Joe.
Well, they say it's not the X's and the O's, it's the Jimmies and the Joes.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Football on the Know. I'm Jim McPhee, right there is Mr. Joe DeCapito.
What's going on, Autos? Welcome back again. I know it's been a while. We've been on a little bit of a hiatus recently, but we are back right now. Thank you guys for joining us. For those of you that are new to the show, this is the best and most interactive NFL talk show you're going to find. We love to have a lot of fun out here, having different conversations, getting your guys' opinions as well. Before we kick off the show, we need you guys to help us grow this channel, and it's very simple, absolutely free. Head over to YouTube, hit the subscribe button for us, hit the thumbs up while you're there to let YouTube know, like, hey, maybe more people want to check this out. And then don't forget to tell a friend, share it around, spread the word. Jim, I'm excited for this week because you want to know what it means?
What does it mean?
It means that we still haven't figured out the NFL yet, and we're
No.
already over halfway through the season. So a lot of upsets seem to keep happening every single week without a surprise, or just when we start to think that we get to know these teams better, they show us a surprise here and there every single week. I gotta tell you, I don't have any hair to pull out, but if there was hair, I would be pulling it out right now.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because, again, to do some of these picks every single week, it's nuts, man. Like I said, I'm ready to pull my hair out, too. It's like, because you don't know. Just when you think you know, you don't know, right? And this is where it's almost like when we're looking at subjects to do kind of for this show, it's just it's early for some of the contender pretender stuff, but you're almost kind of there with some of these teams because you don't know what they are. You're getting a different team every week. You look at the Buffalo Bills, for example, right?
Yeah.
Again, through the beginning of the preseason onto this season, they seem to be like, the team, hey, this is a team, they got to get over that hump of Kansas City. They're built to win again. They could use some receivers. The defense still, struggles at times, but this has got to be their time. And then they're looking good right off the start. You know what I mean? Have Josh Allen looks really good. They got the running game going. They got the number one ranked running offense in the league right now. But again, at times, they just let the game slip from them and they'll lose to like competition that they should trample over. And then having that big win against Kansas City and then a hangover of a loss to a divisional rival and a team that seemed defeated, to where we're talking about hot seat from Mike McDaniel, and they come out blazing, and Buffalo comes out stumbling, fumbling all over. And I mean, literally fumbling. And Josh Allen not looking good at all, pressured a lot. And the defense, again, awful suspect against the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah. So first things first with that whole game. One, it's a divisional game, so you never know what you're going to get out of those. I mean, just take a look at what happened in the AFC West this past week on how the Broncos and Raiders played, and wow, like 10-7 final game, final score. Are you kidding me? Like, you never know with this league what it's going to do, especially in a divisional rivalry type of game. Bills, Dolphins, although to their credit, offensively, at least a couple weeks ago, we're starting to turn things a little bit. Tua started to figure out, hey, I should be playing better, and look at what I can do. And then last week, we saw an even better offense step onto the football field against the Buffalo Bills, and the defense joined them and saying, hey, we're not done. Like, we're still going to be competing. We're still, trying to push that boulder up the hill and try to climb back into this thing. So, I gotta say, I'm definitely disappointed in the Buffalo Bills on what they didn't show against a Miami team that they should have beaten. And then I'm also surprised on the Dolphins showing that they are not as bad as we thought they were. That they do still have a little bit of spark to kind of compete for the rest of the season and see what happens. So you're right, Jim. Like, And this hasn't been the only week for this. Like, there's been constant upsets every week. Just when we think like, oh, this team's better than this team, and then lo and behold, the following week we're like, well, that didn't make sense. How did that team beat that team? You know what I mean? So it looks like
Mhm.
it's going to continue as we get closer and closer to the end of the season. But man, we got our first comment here by Rise Up Dirty Birds. He said, "Can the Falcons lock in and fire Zach and Raheem and Marquise Williams, the special teams coordinator?" Well, can they lock in and fire them? I'm sure they can do that. That's a pretty
Yes.
easy thing to do, is just firing people. If in fact that is the route they're going to go. And here's the other deals. Like, I get what he's saying is, Raheem is more of a defensive minded guy. The defense is
Mhm,
playing better, by the way. So that
mhm,
part of the job, check mark. But the offense is struggling a little bit, and it's not the skill players. It's Michael Penix.
mhm.
Finally getting the torch passed to him as the starting quarterback, and you see some good games. You also see some bad games, and it makes you scratch your head a little bit on a team that was looking before week one was looking at, hey, you know what? We might have a shot of winning this division. That was their aspirations, and so far they've been falling short of that because the play from Michael Penix is lacking as well. So yeah, you can say like it's play calling because it might be that's part of it, but Michael Penix does have to play better as well on the field. So I don't think the answer is just firing everybody because in one season you're struggling or your quarterback is struggling, and they got to work through it, really. And the Atlanta Falcons are just not a super bad team to the point where you're like, well, this ain't going to get any better. Let's just start fresh.
Yeah, I mean, and this is what's funny how just change week to week, right? We were talking to Rise Up, and about how good his defense was doing. I think it was like second against the rush or whatever, and this and that. And it seemed like they were kind of turning things around as they were growing with Michael Penix. But
Mhm.
uh, again, I think you did add something to your defense. Your defense was playing well, but the points
Defense is
can't
good.
get on the board. And that's the thing is like your defense can do all you want and stuff like that. But if you're not going to score points, it's almost like the flip flop of what the Bengals are. You know what I mean? You can only keep up so long. And if you're not scoring to keep up with the other team, you're not going to pull out victories. Like I think the one game they had like 7 sacks or something like that, and they still lost. So usually when you're playing a game and you have 7 sacks in the game, you're pretty much you think you're going to win that game, and then you end up in a loss. So
But you got to score points on the other
you,
hand.
that's what I mean. You got to do that, and it's funny how short of a leash some of these fans even have with these guys. They're trusting Raheem Morris. He was hired over Bill Belichick. A lot of people praising the call. It was his second season now with the team. You had aspirations. You had 2 different quarterbacks who, again, a veteran in Kirk Cousins here, and they go and draft Michael Penix Jr. And now the sight of a downhill turn, and everybody wants to fire everybody and get rid of everybody. When
Yeah,
I don't necessarily think that's even the right move right now, because this
and
is
I
where you
understand.
turn into a out of control organization, and I don't think
I
Atlanta's like that.
I understand the frustration from the fans. I get it. Rise Up is pointing out, effing Raheem, chose to have a talk with Penix about emotions. He said if uh, you can't have regular relationships if you want to do something extraordinary. Listen, you can have all the pep talks you want as a coach to a player or whatnot, but bottom line is everybody has to step up on the offensive side of the ball for the Falcons. Coaches, and Michael Penix and everybody else around him. Like, this isn't going to be done by one guy. And even though Michael Penix has shown some great games on
Mhm.
film, but he's also shown some poor games that have cost them games. So he just needs to get more consistent. That's really what it is. Bottom line. Like, I understand the frustrations with the coaching staff at times and all that, and some of the play calling. I definitely get it, but it's something that has to be worked through instead of that knee jerk, "Well, it's not working this year, so let's fire everybody and start over." So, I think the Falcons are in a good spot because for the first time last week, they were really healthy on defense. They got back a couple corners. They seemed to be getting into the flow of things that was, projected that they would be like, especially on this defensive side, they were going to be even better. And they are, but when they're healthy. Now that they are, the defense is capitalizing on against every opponent. All the pressure is shifted over to just offense. Now, can the offense start playing better? So that way you can play, cohesive football here.
Yeah, and I get it. I mean, you're frustrated, can't get it going. Um, I think Penix just you got some growing pains. You just got to get through it. That's all. I mean, I don't think it's again. I don't think a head coach is going to be an issue. I think maybe if you want to look at offensive coordinator, I get that of the plays getting in there late. I know about that being a Giants fan, and it's funny that he even says he wants Brian Daboll as a offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
That might be a good spot. I mean, because that's where he fits. Brian Daboll as a head coach, not so much. And I just don't think you should rock the boat that fast right now. I mean, I understand the frustration. They want to be a contender. They thought they could contend this year.
And they still
and I think they still could. Again,
Yeah.
you've got all the talent there. You just got to get it right. And your quarterback's still learning. So what do you do to put your quarterback in the best positions though, too? And I think
Especially a
they
young
haven't really
quarterback.
done that.
Yeah, with a
Mhm.
young quarterback too,
Mhm.
don't put too much on his plate every week. Don't say, "Oh, well, we're gonna treat you like you're a veteran, that you've been there, done that, and you're gonna be able to succeed at some point." No, you have to kind of ease him into this. Like now that he's the guy, everybody knows it, and he has, made some nice plays. You have to build off of that, and you can't just say, "Okay, well, here's a full plate of food. I need you to finish it all in 30 minutes. Otherwise, I don't know what we're gonna do with you." Like, no, you have to almost kind of like section off the playbook in a sense. If it's too much, dial it back a little bit. Do high percentage throws. You got Bijan Robinson in the backfield along with all these other weapons that are amazing. So why not utilize them all? But you can lean on Bijan a little bit more. He's a consummate veteran. He's one of the youngest and best players in the NFL. And why not lean on him a little bit more like they have done in previous weeks? Give him the ball, whether you hand it off, pass it to him, whatever. High percentage throws to Drake London and Kyle Pitts. Mix it up a little bit. Don't have everything on him where you're sending players. Let's send all four wide receivers down the field and nobody to throw an outlet pass to. So when the pressure gets there and he can't see anybody open yet, there's no time. They got to start thinking and putting their heads together, especially like Zach Robinson, the offensive coordinator, needs to start figuring some things out with X's and O's that are going to help his young quarterback and not, even deter him from further developing.
All right, we're having a lag spike or something. That's Joe or not. Not. I mean, it's frustrating to see what happens with that team again on a 4-game losing streak. They again have some time to get back into this. I know they have that, and the Saints aren't really giving up either. It seems like some of these teams that you thought were cashing it in, were making it in, and going to be one of the top picks here, and they could potentially still be in the upcoming draft. Fighting hard, and playing hard here. We saw the Saints pull off out, and you've got two contenders here, not contenders, but basically division rivals back to back, and then a Jets team who seems like they don't have quit in them as well. So, and they need to come out of there at least with two more wins, but they should get 3 more to kind of get back on the wagon here and contend, while the Bucs again have another tough matchup against the Buffalo Bills now. So that's going to be kind of a must win, I would say, for both teams as well. I mean, you guys got to fight for the division. Carolina to kind of get into this division, and the Bills back losing to the Patriots right now in the division. And whoever really saw that coming, Joe? All right.
Can you hear me?
Seems like we lost connection again with Joe here. Let's see if we can get that going. But let's see what happens. I'll pull him off a screen and then see what we can get going. I don't know what's going on here. But and what he's done for this team, not only just being the coach, but being the players type of coach, knowing the X's and O's, and all the rules in the NFL. He's learned from one of the best here from Bill Belichick, getting involved. He's a players coach on top of it. And he's getting the best out of Drake May too. And what that does is he's got the right type of coaches in the house too as well to kind of get the most out of Drake May. And Drake May is showing what people saw in him. I know he was my favorite quarterback coming into the league here in that particular draft. Really good now and trending very well. And, Jaden, I know he's got some injuries here, but again, he's got to learn to kind of protect himself a bit better here for Washington. But the Patriots, they've got to be the kind of the surprise team of the league this year. But on the other side too, a lot of people expected him to be better just because the fact that you got Brian Daboll here, and it was just the right hire at the right time. It just seemed like a fit for him to go back home to New England, and he's got this team raring. And we are seeing actively too a changing of the guard at the running back position. If you look at Ramondre Stevenson taking over or passing the torch onto Henderson. Henderson is just a more complete back. He's more explosive here, hitting the holes quicker and bigger chunk plays, and that's crucial for New England and what they've been able to do. And I think that's even a major turning point with this team and why they've had such is the fact that they can get that in game going. They're ball over like they were with Stevenson when they were handing the ball over to him. So I think it's key, even at the running back position, the fact that they went to Henderson. All right. Let's give a shout out to Dan's out there in the house with us tonight. He says, still go Bills all day. Yeah, our defense sucks just as much as the whole Jersey Giants franchise. Oh, that's real nice, Dan. I appreciate that. I like that whenever, Bills are down and you're down. I mean, you can at least have the Giants to be your punching bag, right? That's always good for you. But yeah, tough times. I mean, but is it really though? I mean, if you look at the Giants again, we're used to this by now, right? I mean, it's been a decade or so that it's been like this. So it's almost like a wash cycle, right? You put the dishes in or whatever, and then you fill the water, and then you get the everything rinse, and then you're going to just do it again. You know what I mean? And this is what we're dealing with. And I think with the Giants here, I mean, it's an interesting aspect in how the Maras see Joe Schoen, right? I know he's got connections within the organization. And I know he's tight, with some of the people there and tight to the family. And that's why he's kind of kept his job, I think, there just because of, the ties that he has there, not exactly his product that he's put out on the field. They still think that they have the weapons and the things that they could do to have success. They just did feel like they had the right head coach at this time. And that's probably true even at this point in time. We talked about it with Dirty Birds here quick. The fact that Brian Daboll, yeah, he's probably a better offense. He didn't handle those stressful moments when it was key. From what you're hearing out of reports from New York is that his emotions were up and down many times, super fired up, angry. Then other times, he's, happy-go-lucky. had his favorites, getting really chummy with some players, but some other players not so much. And you saw that too, even when he's getting in arguments. Wink Martindale now all of a sudden is out of there, and you got Shane Bowen there. So a lot of different things inside that organization, and him, again, reports I was hearing, especially from Jordan Raanan, is that he really cared what everybody else thought about him. He was paying more of attention to how he looked and how things looked from the outside than how to win a game or how to play football, how to teach his players, how to get his quarterback right. All that other stuff that really mattered, he wasn't paying attention to. He's paying more attention to everybody else thought about this and playing the games. And that's ultimately getting him fired. Now the Bills, again, they're a head scratcher too. Again, a team to where they, again, had the shot to pull out here, and get a bigger lead in this division. And they've squandered wins, and that defense, again, still has holes and still could use another weapon at wide receiver. And it come to the trade deadline. How are you not making moves? You've got other teams like the Eagles. They're always making moves week to week, up until the trade deadline, and they still made moves. They got Jalen Phillips, and what do you know? He plays Monday night, and he's already a factor for the team, right? You've got the Colts, who a lot of people are, again, not exactly bought and sold on the Colts, but hell, they've got a pretty good, solid team. They've got a great running back who right now, I swear, is the MVP of the league, or at least he should be. Daniel Jones playing his best football that he has before in his career. Shane Steichen, maybe he's going to be coach of the year this year. And what do? They go and some people say they overpay. They're going all in. They're like, well, we'll give you this first and this first. We're going in. We're going to get this player too, because we feel like we can win this championship this year. We have the team at least to try and pull it off, we feel, at this point. So we're going for it. We've seen that before with the Rams, and it's paid off. So I don't know why some of these teams, especially now the Bills, have been, a contender every single year, and they're happy with that. Still hear the rumblings, and the storylines that they can't beat the Chiefs. Well, okay, now they beat the Chiefs in the regular season, but you got to do it when it matters, because once it comes playoff time, it's 0-0. Everybody's 0-0. You're on the level playing field. Now it's win or go home. And that's what you do at the trade deadline. You make those moves to set up for that. And they didn't. So this could be, again, the same thing we see every single year. They don't go all in when fans are begging for it. They have a pretty good team, a good nucleus around them. They have the quarterback, but he can't do it all. And you saw that again this past week, where if he's not him and Superman putting out that Superman, costume underneath his jersey, and he's not playing his best, look where they are. And they needed something at the trade deadline, and they didn't show up. Dan says, yeah, our defense sucks ass. We can't stop a wet dream. But why would you, though? I mean, would you, though? I mean, I don't know. But yeah, it is. It's crucial. And again, there was people out there. There's even guys you can even pick up. I think even it was, who was it? Steelers. Steelers picked up even Asante Samuel Jr., right? He's finally healthy, cleared to play, right? Free agent. You don't know what he's got, but he might have something, right? And at one point, he was a pretty good corner. So, and he could play safety too as well. So, I mean, why not go for somebody like that, again, who's cheap even to at this point? And you know what I'm saying? I mean, you could put in there and see what happens, and that's even more depth. Because one thing that we did see last year in the playoffs, when it came down to crunch time and, winning games, depth mattered. And that's where the Bills lacked, was depth. And I think they really didn't go for that this year again. And that's what's going to kill them again. With the way players are dropping left and right, that's what you're seeing with teams, is who has the best depth. And that's what matters when it comes to playoff time too as well. Who has the best depth? Who can make it? Who can keep winning while some of your stars are out? Look at what the San Francisco 49ers did, right? Look at the 49ers. And I'll still say that signing Mac Jones was one of the best things, brilliant things I think that John Lynch has ever done, and having Kyle Shanahan bring him in. It's a guy he already liked. He wanted to draft him. For some reason, he ended up getting Trey Lance instead. Just all of a sudden, he got convinced last minute. No, I don't want to do this. And he's in house. He's looking great. He also got Kendrick Bourne here, who he's familiar with. He's getting some balls thrown to him as well, and he's holding down the fort until some of the players get back. Now you're seeing George Kittle get back, and he's getting some more balls here. So keeping the ship afloat to where now in a tight division, unless Seattle even starts to pull away, but I mean, they're playing really good. The Rams are playing real good, but right behind them are the 49ers. They're still in contention in a really good division. And that's what you do. You get depth. You get depth if you're in on winning and you're in on making the playoffs and trying to get to that echelon. And that's where I think the Bills fall short every year. It seems like they're just complacent with being, hey, we're the best team in New York right now. And hey, we're going to be a contender every year. And we're going to roll it out with what we have right here. We're not going to get crazy. We're not going to spend so much here. We're not going to give away the mother house or what mother load or whatever, And I think that is clear why they're not winning and why they still will be kind of the same old Bills that we see. You're talking about a team that went to 4 Super Bowls in the past and lost all of them. So if you want to get one, I feel like you have to go all in, and they didn't this year. So we'll see how far they can push this thing. Again, I definitely think they're a playoff team. But when push comes to shove and they have to play some of these other contenders, these other tight teams that do have the depth and what it takes to win, I think, I don't know. They might be done again, but it might matter again when it comes down to them and Chiefs. Can they beat the Chiefs in the playoffs? All right. We've got Joe back. Joe, how you feeling, buddy?
I just hate technology.
Yeah. Technology seems weird, right? It's only with this show, right?
Only with
Dan says, don't you dare bring up the early years, you silly man. Hey, that's one thing I do have on you, Dan, though, because the Giants beat the Buffalo Bills in the Super Bowl on a Scott Norwood missed field goal. So I'll always have that in memory. So you can't take that away from me. So, Joe, I don't know if you were listening at all, but again, I went off on the Bills again and how I feel like they should have went in on the trade deadline. Because the teams that win in the end have depth for one, and you making that play. How long can you be the darling of the AFC or whatever, the next one to go win? And you just, hey, let's roll out the same old, same old.
Yeah, and we talked about this before. It's one of those things where like you don't want your team to be like too aggressive to the point where they screw themselves. And you also don't want them to sit on their hands, so to speak, and not do anything. Like there has to be a happy medium as a GM of any team. Because if you sit on your hands too long and don't make those type of not really big splash moves, but like just moves in general, like moves to improve your team, then you're not doing your job. And then if you're one of the guys that are just kind of going crazy where with trades or just signing guys and bringing them in and hopefully something sticks, then it makes you look like a crazy organization as well. But because a lot of times when you do that, you don't make the right moves. You don't make the educated decision to improve your team. So there has to be a happy medium. The Buffalo Bills are one of those teams where they struck gold when they drafted Josh Allen, and they also struck gold when they got James Cook. And obviously, they built around them with the offense and the defense, but not up to the point where you can confidently say, like, okay, yeah, this team is going to have a big time window open for them to have a chance to get to the Super Bowl and possibly win it. We've seen decisions made by Buffalo recently, as recent as this offseason, where obviously they are the darlings of the AFC East coming into week 1. Everybody expected this Bills team to kind of take off where they left off from in a playoff contention. Now it's not so sure because in the offseason, we noticed when you look at that roster, lack of wide receivers. The linebacking depth is inept. You can see that now. Like a couple guys go injured, and now it's like they don't have a guy to step in and not lose too much in terms of talent and skill. And then you got other guys that are either coming back from injury, like is early as last week, where Hairston, that their rookie corner that they signed or drafted, just got back on the football field to play. So it's one of these things where you know you have a team that's capable of winning. You have a team that is right there on the cusp, but I don't see the moves to kind of put them over the hump. And that's really what's missing from the Buffalo Bills. Like we called it in the offseason. Wide receivers are a little don't get me wrong. Khalil Shakir, really good receiver. He is a really good receiver. He's not a playmaking X receiver, but he's a really good slot receiver. Keon Coleman, they drafted him with the hopes that he could be the outside guy and get the 50-50 balls and make some big time plays. You see a little bit of that here and there, but not consistently enough to say, "Oh, well, everyone's gonna worry about him," because nobody really does.
Mhm.
He's again, they just ended up drafting Keon Coleman, who was a big body receiver, don't get me wrong, good player, but he's kind of playing out of position in my opinion. I think he should be a slot guy.
Yeah.
And where is that playmaking guy? Like they used to have Stephon Diggs. He used to be the X factor for them. When things
Mhm.
were going right, Josh Allen knew he had the confidence in him, and he knew that he could go to him and he'd make a big splash play. They don't have that guy, and if you don't have that guy on offense, it's gonna be really, really tough for them to kinda weasel their way into the Super Bowl.
Mhm. Yeah, it's funny that Dan brings up a point here in this comment. He says nothing to do about talent. Think it's about heart, and everyone is just expecting to make it, but we haven't earned shit. I kind of talked about this last night, just with the fact that it's almost like they're listening to, "Hey, we're this good, and we got to beat the Chiefs." So they play hard, they beat the Chiefs, and then it comes up to the Dolphins, who they're struggling right now, and they're like, "Oh, we should beat these guys or whatever," and then all of a sudden they're just punched in the mouth. They're like, "Dude, what the hell was that?" And no
Right.
effort. They're like, "Oh, we didn't need to really put forth our best day here." And that's comes forth when you hear Josh Allen, and it's cliche, but I think he kind of means it again too in this one. When you're on the podium, he's like, "Well, they wanted it more than we did in this one," and that's a cliche thing, but I swear it is true in some aspect to the fact of body language. Nobody wants to win more than another. They both want to win,
Yeah.
but if you're not prepared, you obviously didn't want to come into this 100% and win this game.
Yeah, and Daniel just said, he just dropped a comment, said, you know, "That comes down to coaching.
Mhm.
Also, Coleman
Mhm.
is trash."
Yeah.
I don't think
No,
Coleman is
it's
trash, I
trash,
just
but
think he's being used in the wrong position for a guy of his skill set. He
right,
could be
and
a deadly slot receiver, but he's not an outside receiver, and for some reason, they keep trying to force that to happen. It's just simply not going to be there. Coaching to a point, Dan, you're right, but skill has to take over after the coaching's been done.
mhm,
And they're just the Buffalo Bills just not is not they're just not a complete team like they have to be in order to make that major push and beat the Chiefs in the playoffs and get over that hurdle to get into the Super Bowl and have a chance to hoist the Lombardi trophy. That's the biggest issue is that
mhm.
you talked about it earlier, Jim, like the depth needs to be a little bit better, but then there's these key positions that they just don't have the
Yes.
finished product done.
Yeah, I think that so too. Again, you're not getting the key places, players that you should. And he brings up a fact too, and I think I've heard some of this too. That do we pose the question then? Is it time for McDermott to go? Then is he just not the players not respond to him at this point? He's been there for a very long time here too. Kept bringing the team, to the playoffs or at least a good team for a while, but can't exactly get over the hump. And we've seen other organizations already
Yeah.
pull the plug on coaches because they just
Right.
can't, you know,
Yeah.
even though they've had success, and we
Oh,
talked about the Cincinnati Bengals back in the day when we were like, when is Marvin Lewis finally getting fired? Yes, they continue to make the playoffs, eventually here and there, whatever, and a good team, but they just don't get over the hump. They're not getting it done. And, so do we see that it's maybe time for McDermott to move on?
I think that behind closed doors, I believe this too. The owner, the GM, I think they're having conversations right now because honestly, when you really kind of boil it down, just like you mentioned, they've been there, done that. They've won some games. They've gotten to the playoffs. It was really exciting, and then they fail, and then they can't beat the Chiefs in the playoffs. They just can't. They can beat them in the regular season, no problem. But it always seems when they meet up with them in the playoffs, they always are on the losing end. So um, you could point the blame on just Sean McDermott, and you have an you have you have something there to where you can make that case and say, well, you know what, he's gotten us to be a competitive team. He's gotten us to be a winning team at times, but we just can't seem to kick the door open and bust through it to get to the Super Bowl.
Mhm.
Those conversations are probably already being had. And honestly, like it's warranted, you know? What's the
Yeah.
saying? He is a defensive coach and look where we are sitting. Yeah, yeah. The
Yeah,
defense is lacking for sure.
right. And that's even after he has multiple times said, "Hey, I'm taking over play call duties for the
Mhm.
defense. Or I'm going to be
Yeah,
all wrapped around into defense and stuff too," and hasn't improved. So key points right here. So Bills
true.
Mafia will be watching this season how it pans out and stuff. And again,
One
if they don't make it, I mean, if
yeah.
that's and again, I hate to say kind of cliche shit and stuff like that. And the dumb questions that everybody even asks, though, but I'm just going to do it, I guess. So if the Bills do not make the Super Bowl this year, it's basically a failure for them, and potentially now we're looking at Sean McDermott,
I
out.
think honestly, they're in jeopardy of not making the playoffs. The way they keep playing, if they're allowing the Miami Dolphins to beat them, you know what I mean? Like, let's
Mhm.
be honest, that the Bills should have won that game. They got outplayed that day. They really did. Got to give some credit to the Miami Dolphins, but maybe they were overlooking them. Who knows what the excuse was? But I will say this about Sean McDermott too is what I've noticed in the past 2 years at least is that in certain positions he consistently puts a band-aid on a weakness, whatever the position may be, corner, linebacker. He seems to bring in the older vets. He brings them back another year. You look at Tre'Davious White is back with the Buffalo Bills. They brought back Micah Hyde. He's back on the roster. And you got to kind of wonder, like, you're bringing these guys back for what? Just why don't you go out and sign a free agent veteran that you could bring in that's a little bit younger that can kind of take over that position, upgrade it somehow, whether even the draft,
Yeah,
and,
right.
and I've noticed that like he seems to kind of band-aid certain positions just to kind of get by,
Yeah,
and then well we'll revisit that position next year. You can't keep doing that
right.
because it's hurting you.
Yeah,
Now you have older vets that are
yep,
getting injured more often and
yep.
now missing significant time. And it's like, where's the young bucks? Where's
Yeah,
all the guys that we
where
should be kind of
right.
retooling this defense and figuring out a way? Look at even this offseason. Joey
Yeah,
Bosa.
yeah,
Are you kidding
yep,
me?
yeah,
A guy
I
who
know.
was often injured and also older. Like,
Yeah, it's like they should have learned when they made that move for Von Miller, right? I mean, Von Miller, that was their veteran move. Like, oh, let's get him in there. He's obviously trying to latch on to try and get a ring again, and it didn't work out. And what do? They go, hey, let's get a beat up, older, injury prone, defensive end, put him on there. He's going to make a big difference, And like you said, bringing back Tre'Davious White, Micah Hyde. We've seen this already before. Again, where's the talent? Where's the newer guys? Where's this? Where's the splash move? And like that's why I said
I
that they failed even in this trade week.
I do like Hairston. I like
Mhm.
him. Now that he's finally in the lineup, I think he's gonna be awesome for the Buffalo Bills. However, that's one young guy,
Mhm.
if you order your Chinese, I would
The
like the one young guy,
one young guy.
you know, um, and that's
Oh,
great.
man. We're gonna
That's
get tagged for hate
that's
speech or something.
that's great and all, but
Whatever.
I mean, honestly, like it's one of these things, Daniel. Oh, but wait, but isn't Bosa balling out? He says. Well, only in the past couple of weeks he's been
Yeah.
balling out. What about the other, several weeks that where he even got hurt, got injured, beat up a little bit, missed a week or two, and then now he's back and yeah, he's been balling out last week. He balled out the week
Mhm.
before.
Mhm.
I'll give you that.
Right. Right.
But again, how long is that going to last? That's not going to last till playoffs. This guy's track record, he always gets hurt and misses significant
Mhm.
time. So
Mhm.
I mean, as the season progresses, who knows? I hope he
Yeah.
stays healthy. I hope
Mhm.
he does ball out for the
Mhm.
Bills, but his track record shows otherwise. So, I mean, you got to be concerned a little bit for the Buffalo Bills as you get further and further down the season, and if they continue to struggle at times, I don't think they're going to always struggle, but the problem is you don't want to get in the hole too far. The New England Patriots are now atop of the division. They're tied with the best record in the AFC, and you got to be wondering, like, if you start to falter, a couple more losses, and you can't really turn the thing around, you might just miss the playoffs, just barely. You might be able to catch the wild card if the Patriots stay afloat. It's going to be
Yeah.
tough.
Yeah, absolutely, Joe. I mean, and you bring up the Patriots. I talked about them a little bit before in the fact that Drake May again, third in the ranking of quarterback, passing yards, turning it on this year, really showing his ability. And under Mike Vrabel, who happened to be again the perfect coach at the perfect time for the right situation. But I
Mhm.
also take in account that I feel like this win streak also started to turn on once they started handing the reins of the running game over to Henderson and taking it away from Ramondre Stevenson, the fumble king, or turnover prone.
No, I mean, honestly, that only happened this past couple of weeks.
Mhm.
He because of Ramondre Stevenson getting hurt.
Mhm.
It took a while. The
Yeah,
guy
it took a
was
little bit.
constantly fumbling every single week from
Mhm.
week 1, until like week 8,
Mhm.
until he ended up getting hurt. It's like, "Hello, Mike
Yeah.
Vrabel. Hello.
Hello.
What are
Yeah.
you doing? Like, can you make a decision here? Like, you got a young up and coming rookie who
Yeah.
is very dynamic. Why aren't you getting him on the football field more often? Why aren't you telling
Right.
Josh McDaniels, the OC, to get him on the football field?"
Yeah.
I mean, this kid has always been explosive. He's always been an exciting running back for the Ohio State Buckeyes. Now with the New England Patriots, you've seen what he can do in a small sample size. Now that he finally got his opportunity, there should be no looking back because he is the better running back in that backfield.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it was almost like back when we were yelling at Mike Vrabel when he was with the Tennessee Titans, and you're like, dude, you have Derrick Henry in your backfield and he's not starting right now, and you're only putting him in a wild card on Wildcat. Remember those days? People didn't even know about
Right,
Derrick Henry because he was only in on Wildcat. Like, what's he gonna do?
right.
He's gonna run directly after. I'm like, how is he not the full time, running back here? What is going on? And
Yeah.
then finally they do, and everybody knows King Henry now. There you go.
But
So
honestly, I
yeah,
think for you know,
but
the resurgence for the New England
it,
Patriots early on in the season
mhm,
is really it comes down to Drake May's play.
yeah.
It comes down to him into his sophomore year in the NFL, taking another step forward this year, and you can just see the development growing immensely. It's almost like he looks like a veteran, like he's been there for 7 years, and you know he knows what it's all about. So it's very surprising. I'm a huge Drake May fan. Even out of the draft, I wanted my Raiders to get him, but we knew that wasn't going to happen.
Mhm.
But this kid is really kind of leading this offense, taking on the pressure that has been given to every quarterback throughout the league. and is just kind of strolling through it, no problem. Like he just makes things work and executes all his plays and does his reads and all that. So I think you have a combination of two things that happen for the Patriots in the best way possible. Mike Vrabel being your head coach, one, him filling out his staff, and you already had Drake May in the saddle. So it was like, all right, we're going to roll with this guy. We'll see what we can do. And the additions that they made via free agency and draft, smart ones that all kind of came together for this season. And we're seeing the results of it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, Joe. Um, let's talk about the Cincinnati Bengals now too. Let's move on to another team in the AFC who again, where I was talking about earlier with the 49ers, how they have somebody in plan to keep the team going while their quarterback is out. It seemed like all hope is lost. They get the first couple wins, and then Joe Burrow goes down again. Jake Browning looks terrible. Defense still's terrible as hell. You know, like we talk about Dan, we're talking about wet paper bags and everything else. I mean, that is the epitome of this, you know, Cincinnati Bengals defense. And lo and behold, they get Joe Flacco to hold down the fort a little bit here too. Still playing okay, but still, you know, having a loss, you know, most recently too, where I feel like
It
they
ain't
should
on
have won
Joe.
that game
That's
again
all I
too.
know.
It's
It ain't
not.
on Joe
He's
Flacco.
straight balling again, you know.
38 points.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
But
dude,
they're still in the thick of it just because the Pittsburgh Steelers are kind of just squeaking the duck, right? I mean, I don't know what else to say it here. Yeah, what are you doing here, Pittsburgh? You had it right in your hand again. It was there. Baltimore was banged up, beaten. They're losing on badly. You know what I'm saying? You've got, you know, the Bengals didn't have their quarterback. Look at the Chicago or the Cleveland Browns. They're starting their rookie, quarterback. You had it in your hand and you squandered it. And now look, you got Lamar back. He's playing well. They're starting to win. And now you're talking about Joe Burrow open his 21-day window. Watch out.
exactly. For the Cincinnati Bengals, getting Joe Burrow, it's going to be. I gotta say, like, all the kudos goes to Joe Flacco and what he's been able to do with Cleveland,
Uh,
and that's what he say. He said, "Dude, Flacco, that as
as they
they
would
would say,
say,
is bad motherfucker."
yeah,
You're right.
nice, yeah.
Right you are, Daniel. Right you are. Um, but yeah, like he's got to get a ton of credit because even in Cleveland, and this has to show something about the Cleveland Browns too,
Yeah,
is
right.
that the Joe Flacco in Cincinnati very different than the Joe Flacco in Cleveland. So is it the offense in Cleveland that's hurting them? Is it
Mhm,
is it in fact and honestly I didn't think I would ever say this, but is it in fact Kevin Stefanski's play calling that's hurting Cleveland?
mhm.
Because if Joe Flacco can go to Cincinnati, and I get it, but to be fair, Cleveland does not have the caliber of wide receivers as Cincinnati does. Nowhere close.
Nowhere near. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So you got to kind of put that in the equation too. But now that he's with Cincinnati and seeing what he can do still, keeping this team afloat, they got an opportunity to where as long as Flacco can kind of maybe scratch out another win or two before Joe Flacco comes back, they're back into this hunt. They're back into
Mhm,
the hunt for the division too.
mhm,
You know, it's going to be tough because you got teams like the Baltimore Ravens that you mentioned now are finally healthy on the defensive side of the ball, and they look a lot more dangerous now. You of course you got Lamar Jackson back in his position, and then the Steelers that are faltering a little bit. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a turn around for the Steelers where they're going to figure it out again and kind of gain traction once again as we get closer to the end of the season. So great. It's a great news for Cincinnati. The Bengals fans definitely got to be rejoicing. Got to be happy about this. Flacco, Joe
Joe Bur
Burrow. There's two
mhm,
Joes in Cincinnati right now.
yeah,
It's driving
yeah,
me crazy. Um,
mhm,
you got Joe Burrow now coming back 2 to 3 weeks, and he'll be back in the lineup. I mean, things are looking pretty good for Cincinnati. However, just like you mentioned in our other show, Jim, the defense needs to get back on track too. Like I understand they're a struggling defense. I get it, but they haven't had Trey Hendrickson in several weeks. They
Mhm.
haven't had Shamar Stewart out there, even without Trey. They just haven't had him in the lineup as well. So when you don't have your pass rushers out there, that's gonna influence your defense a little bit too. So maybe when they get those guys back, along with Burrow, this team could look at least competitive no matter who they play every week.
Yeah, and I think really, I think is a key factor too for this team is effectively running the football too. You've got all these weapons at the wide receiver position, at tight end, whatever. And it's good to air it out and you could score in, again, 20 seconds if you wanted to, right?
Yeah.
But so can these other teams. So what do you do to try and keep pace of play, keep your, people a little more rested? What do you do to control the game? You want to be able to control the clock, especially if you get out there and you get those bigger leads and don't give up the losses. You need to have a respectable running game. And I feel like Chase Brown has the factors to do that. But I feel like when they run the offense, they don't exactly keep it more of a balance, even though they could. But I think the fact that they've got all those weapons out there and they're so effective that they go to that instantly and the run is like a byproduct afterwards or an afterthought. I feel like when it comes down to the second half or around that, they should kind of sprinkle in the run more and become more balanced to kind of control the clock so you don't have your defense giving up so many quick plays.
Uh, I would say this before Joe Flacco, you're absolutely right. After Joe Flacco, Chase Brown's getting the ball a lot more often, and that's
Mhm.
because of Flacco being able to thread the needle and distribute that football to T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. Chase Brown, now that Flacco is the quarterback, is no longer struggling. He gets yards on the ground. He gets yards even in the air catching the football. And then you have Samaj P. Ryan coming once again back in Cincinnati, kind of doing his thing on third downs and whatnot. So I think the running game is there now that they have a competent quarterback, um, minus Joe Burrow. That I don't think the offense definitely isn't the problem anymore. It used to be when they lost Joe and didn't have an answer after he left. Now that they have Flacco there, there's all gas, no brakes on offense. And when you're scoring 38 points, I'm sorry, whether you were milking the clock or not, the defense was giving up those touchdowns right back right away. So, and that's really what it comes down to. We're beating it like a dead horse, but it is what it is. Offense is playoff caliber. Defense is barely average, not even average.
Mhm. Mhm.
So until they get that corrected, we're going to still see the same kind of Bengals where they're going to have to outscore opponents.
Yeah, absolutely, Joe. So, I mean, we'll look forward to that. And again, this season, the way it's kind of boiling out, I don't know who's going to be there at the end. Dan is
Oh,
saying
it's
he was going
crazy.
to come down to Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. But again,
It's crazy.
Lamar Jackson, he's banged up now again this week, again, I think with a knee injury, but I think he'll still play. And they're getting a little healthier now, too. So that makes that division more interesting on top of it. Dan
Yeah.
also says, what
Yep.
does he say here? Let me
Dan's
put it up there.
absolutely right. He said offense has really never been a problem in Cincinnati. It's always been the defense. They
That's
suck a big stick. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Weeder. Yeah, I
I
gotta
don't
give it.
know if I honestly don't know if we would get flagged for saying it.
I don't.
I don't
I
know.
don't think so.
I
Yeah,
don't
I
think
don't
so.
think so. But thanks,
But
we appreciate that, Dan. But yeah, I mean, it's been interesting, Joe. I think we should even touch upon this just because it's a hotter topic out here, and we can just roll through it. It's not gonna be major, but um, AJ Brown again, right? He's like out there again, tweeting, "Hey, if you got me on
that's right.
your fantasy teams,
That's
y'all
right.
better drop me now."
Get rid of me.
Uh Teams, if you got them on a fantasy, they already kind of know that situation, right? They might even not had to start. I mean, they're already on their bench, just floating there, right? Uh, nice, Dan. Um, so that's the interesting thing with this team too. I feel like Philadelphia could have even made that move. like at the trade deadline. Some people would say, yeah, that's dumb. That's an interesting, blah, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Why not though? If you're not even actively getting that involved in the offense, he still gets some receptions and things like that. And even this past week, he had a big key catch for a first down,
Right.
which I think helped them win that game. But he's still got value. People know he's not happy there. Why not get something here? If you're making another push, I still feel like they could still win with the talent that they have around them. They added more on the defense. Even with what they gave up some on, getting some of those, players that they would get something back in value on top of it.
It's really odd, honestly, because
It is.
AJ Brown goes from last year wreaking havoc on secondaries and just flat out destroying people. Him and both Devonta Smith were killing it.
Yeah.
To this year, super strange how pretty much every target is going to Devonta Smith
Devonta
all the
Smith.
time,
Yeah.
or it's going to their tight end,
Yeah.
Goddard. And it's like, well, where's the love for AJ Brown? Like, I think there's only been one game, maybe two games this season so far that AJ Brown has double digits for fantasy. You know what I mean? Like, it's been a very big down year for AJ Brown when it comes to fantasy, but also even right now in real life, like in his career, it's like he's unhappy because here's the thing is he never wanted to be traded away from Philly. Let's get that straight. It's not like he was behind closed doors saying, "Hey, nudge, nudge, trade deadline's coming close. If you can deal me, deal me." That never even came across the table. It all AJ Brown wants, and it's a very simple request. He just wants to be involved. He
Yeah.
just wants to be part of the game plan. He wants to be involved every week. He's not saying that he wants to have a guaranteed 140 receiving yards or anything like that, 3 touchdowns a week. No. He just wants to be involved. Just like Devonta Smith is involved, he
Yeah.
would like to be too. Be part of the team. That's all. So for AJ Brown to, and he's a little pissed. You just know that because he's a competitor. Like he
Yeah.
wants to be, part of the reason. And it's just not working right now. So I feel bad for AJ Brown, to be honest. I don't know what the issue is because it's not him. It's not the offense because the play calls that are being called, he's still getting wide open at times, and the ball's not going to him. So, is it a personal thing? Is it Jalen Hurts? Is it like does he have some kind of beef with AJ Brown
Right.
at this
I don't
point? Like,
know. It just seems like he
because
to avoid him sometimes, right?
he always seems to target Goddard and freaking Devonta Smith all the time, and even sometimes other guys. Like,
Yeah.
I get it, Saquon Barkley's there and all that, but AJ Brown, like, what the hell? Like, what does
Yeah.
this guy have to do to get the football once in a while?
Absolutely. And I'm sure Philly fans are even wondering the same situation here, too. We've got Zach Walker in the house with us tonight.
What up, Zach?
Boom, boom. Dan says hello too as well. Zach, there you go. Yeah, Zach, what do you think about the whole AJ Brown thing? Again, I feel like we've been hearing this story nonstop, and like you said, Joe, again, he's never asked, say, "Hey, get me out of here" or anything like
Right.
that. He just wants to be involved. But if you're not really going to involve him, and
Yeah.
you feel like you still win, get something for him. Somebody he wants to be involved. Hey, there's plenty of other teams. Hey, we can get you involved. What will you give us? Here you go. And knowing Howie Roseman, you would think that he'd be like all in on this. You know what I'm saying? He'd be like, yeah, I'm down for making that move. Whatever. He made the move to get him. They've got their Super Bowl, right? And then he's got 2 now under his belt. Keep it going. Let's trade. Well, I just traded this. I got Jalen Phillips. What did you got? I can do this. And you can still win if you're not utilizing right now and you're winning. That's the formula, right? You paid Saquon Barkley. You got him there. That helped get you your Super Bowl. If you want to be a run first team, which I think they feel they should be again, that's what you do. Make it work. And then again, you could get another wide receiver in this next draft down the line. All right, what do we got here?
Zach said he feels bad for him because he's their top guy. There's no doubt about it, top guy. But he would be frustrated too, and rightfully so. Because listen, if you're a player of that magnitude, like you just want to be part of the team. That's really it.
Yeah.
And just like you mentioned, Jim, Howie Roseman, as great of a GM as he is, he wasn't going to give up AJ Brown
Mhm.
because there are going to be those clutch situations where Devonta Smith isn't able to get open, and they're going to have to go to AJ Brown. He's going to make that X factor play. He's going to get the first down. He's going to fight
Mhm.
through a tackle and get to the end zone. So, that he knew that, like, there's no way. There's
Yeah.
just no way you're giving up that kind of a talented player. And whatever team would be interested in giving up the compensation that to get him to be traded, it would be too much. So most likely he'd be going to a mid-tier, low-end type of team and would be unhappy there. Even though he'll be involved, he will be unhappy because now the winning team that he once was on uh would just be crazy.
Dan says, "Why would you be upset? Who cares how many touches you get? Because it isn't the ultimate goal to be a team guy and win a championship." And I understand that to an aspect, but again, if you're the wide receiver one and you're not getting the pass, the catches and the targets, I can see any wide receiver be like, "Yo, what the hell?" You know what I'm saying? And it's one thing again if there's talent around, right? You're gonna get it spread around. I mean, look at the
Mhm.
Cowboys, right? Let's look at CD Lamb. CD Lamb obviously isn't like, hey, I'm upset that you're getting it more to
That's because
George
he's still
Pickens,
involved.
but he's still involved. He's still getting his. When it comes down to it, you're gonna go down to CD Lamb as well. You're gonna fit him
Mhm,
where he fits even best, which I feel like
mhm.
is even in the slot. Getting
Yeah,
up in there and making the matchups.
right.
And that's why, again, I still don't understand. Like, you got AJ Brown. I'm thinking he's winning matchups most of the time.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? He's just a monster of a man. You just throw it up there and he's going to go get it. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And to watch the Eagles offense stall out, especially as much as they did on Monday, and not involve him more, and some of
Mhm.
those crucial, you know, tur- you know, uh, third downs and things to get the first down. I thought was interesting again, and so maybe it is something different between him and Jalen Hurts or whatever. But
Mhm.
maybe it's just that Jalen Hurts not a good quarterback, and he's got tunnel vision for Devonta
Is
Smith or somebody else. You know,
Yeah, that's the Daniel just said, isn't he winning? Why would he be complaining? You want to be a team player. No, he is a team player.
Mhm.
It has nothing. If he wasn't a team player, Dan, I'll tell you this right now, he would request a trade before the trade deadline. He'd want out of there. He wouldn't even want to stay there because if it is all about him, he's going to want to go somewhere else where he can be appreciated and thrown to. So, I get what you're saying, but it's not a whole thing. Team player, yeah. Are they winning? Kind of. They're kind of winning. They're not winning in significant fashion. They're not kind of just running through teams like they did last year. Like this is a team that is definitely different than what they were last year, and at times have struggled on offense. And it's like, okay, well, if you're struggling on offense and you're having trouble feeding it to Goddard and you're having trouble feeding it to Devonta Smith, well, who else do you got? You got AJ Brown, but for some reason the ball's not going there. There's an issue there. It's got to be corrected.
I'm happy when I'm playing.
And that's just AJ Brown right there in a nutshell, right? So yeah, I agree with Zach too. The same thing again. Run first team, but if the ball's coming out of the air, it should be going to him. So and Dan is right too. Winning is winning. I get that. And it's easy for like Jalen Hurts to say he's like, I don't care about my stats. I do this. All I want is W is all that matters. And we get that. But that's also a mentality, or what somebody says who doesn't
Mhm.
have very good stats either. Oh, I don't care how involved I am, stuff like that, even though, I have to do the tush push all the time. Well, why? Because you're in short yard situations and you can't get the ball to cross the line,
Right.
right?
Right.
Oh man. So yeah, I thought that was interesting that we can kind of just point on and touch on. I thought you made an interesting fact or is kind of thing too as well with Kevin Stefanski, because as some of these seats are getting hotter for these head coaches, and now recently Brian Dable getting fired too,
Mhm.
I'm hearing again that Raheem Morris was another one when we talked about it with Dirty Bird.
Yeah.
Raheem Morris has a real chance of probably getting let loose, after all this and stuff like that.
Mhm.
He's a real potential.
Mhm.
Kevin Stefanski, again, everybody's keeping a pulse on that one, that he potentially could be available. Even
Yeah.
even Ravens fans and some people around circles are talking about John Harbaugh potentially being where now his welcome of being the head coach there, and they're looking to move in a different direction and younger. And with that, and so potentially the end of this season, you could have these veteran head coaches with experience out there to be vetted and brought into an organization that could be looking for, a head coach. I mean, that's what a pool of people to listen to and look for, but then also some of the new and up and coming offensive coordinators on top of it, and the hot names. So this offseason could be pretty interesting when it comes to head coaches.
I laugh at the idea of John Harbaugh getting fired. And all those rumors that you were hearing, Jim, were all stemming from when they were losing, didn't have Lamar Jackson in the lineup, didn't have some certain defensive players. Like I know Nate Wiggins wasn't in the lineup. Jared Alexander, they ended up dealing away. Kyle Van Noy was another guy who was injured even before the season started, just came back. Like when all was doom and gloom in Baltimore and they were losing games hand over fist, it's like, all right, well, that's it. John Harbaugh's the terrible coach. He's got to go. No. Now you see a different team now that it's much healthier, and it looks like the Baltimore Ravens team that we're used to be seeing. So I think that is just absolutely laughable that they were even contemplating that when a guy has been a winning coach in Baltimore for quite some time. So, but Kevin Stefanski is an option. Maybe he ends up getting let go at the end of this year, because some people might say, well, it's kind of unfair. He is working with rookie quarterbacks at this point, and what do you expect the guy to do if they're not kind of stepping up to the plate? I get all that, but here's the thing: in Cleveland, what's something that hasn't struggled? Their defense. Their defense is pretty darn good in the NFL. What has struggled? Kevin Stefanski's offense. Regardless of who they had at quarterback, regardless of what, even go back to when they had Nick Chubb as their running back. The running game was good, but the passing game, it was all right. So it's like now you've had years. You've had years to correct this problem. You've had years to find the guy that you want to be the leader of the offense, and we're still struggling. So maybe it is time.
Yeah. Yeah, you've had talent through there. Had Baker Mayfield in the building, and now look what he's doing in Tampa. When there's even an injured wide receiving core, he's getting it done, right? And that's the key. And you said defense, even too. So again, I've asked even the fact that this guy should be on the hot seat, and maybe we do see. How about this? He gets let go. Interim head coach Jim Schwartz, under who's been a head coach before. Has a good defense, not very good, but second time around, maybe he's learned. Maybe he can hire a good offensive coordinator. At least that's what we'll see, right? Well, who knows? You never know, Joe. So we got Zach in here too. I want to see what he thinks about, not only about the Brian Daboll firing and stuff and what he feels about it, but Shane is still there, and they trust everything in Mike Kafka, right? That he's going to be the interim head coach.
Apparently, they really trust him.
Well, they do, and because again, I've heard from circles that they just see him as the anti Brian Daboll. Brian Daboll, very emotional, very erratic. Highest highs, angry, lowest lows, all over. Cared about what media thought about him and what he did. But Kafka apparently straightforward, cares about this and this, about this, about that. Very docile, doesn't go off the bump, just evaluates everything. Straight and narrow, just a different feel. And I feel like, again, relationships that he's built within the building, those things, that's kind of what has elevated him to this point. Now, this week, we'll kind of see, is there a difference with this offense a little bit? His feel on it that Brian Daboll maybe was changing or putting a emphasis on or whatever. Automatically, they change and put Jameis Winston moved up to the second string. So that's whole time that the Giants have been like, here, we're not going to dress him. He's just going to be the emergency quarterback for some god awful reason. We don't know, and now they make that move. But what is going to be the difference? Especially again, you laugh about it, Joe, and we've talked about it. Like, why Kafka? Because he's gotten the reins stripped away from him for Dable to call the plays. And when Dable was calling the plays, it seemed the offense was doing better. So the fact now that they trust in Kafka to run the show at least until Shane finds the new head coach, which again, I get what Roderick was saying last night, but if you look at some of those players there, they're pretty much gimmies, I would kind of say. For what you could say with some players, I know there's a field where, they're not all exactly gimmies, but the ones that hit were pretty much there to hit. Jackson Dart, he didn't want, Dable wanted, and also this guy, Saquon. So keep that in mind when he's trying to find our next head coach.
Yeah, it's interesting because now that Kafka is going to get the opportunity of a lifetime, really this is his audition to be the head coach for the Giants. All I have to say is, as an offensive-minded guy, be ready for some terrible play calling, and that has been his worst enemy. Is now that it's all on him. Not only does he have to take over the head coaching duties, but also he still has to run the offense as an OC. So, and yeah, he's going to have help, obviously, leading up to game time. But again, a lot is going to be on his plate. I'm curious to see how he manages it, how he manages the team, and he directs practice and all those little nuances of running a team as a head coach. But more than not, you've already seen the decision by Kafka to start Jameis Winston and not Russell Wilson. He must know and wants to see the point of say, hey, okay, we've tried the Russell Wilson thing over and over. Like, we've beaten it like a dead horse. He clearly isn't the guy for us. Let's give Winston a shot. Now that Dart is going to be missing this week, let's give Winston a shot. Let's see if he does any better. I think this is a good move on his part to at least see one game, a sample, if Winston plays better than Russell Wilson. Because rumor has it, Jameis has spoken in his press conferences and said that he wants to stay with the Giants. And if he plays well, he's probably got a home for as long as he wants to play. So I think this week is going to be difficult for Kafka leading the team. And I'm curious to see if he does, in fact, have, now there's no constraints. Now it's all him. It's whatever he wants. Does he want to be more of a run heavy team? Does he want to call more passing plays to set up the run? So it's going to be interesting to see what, in fact, he does from a offensive play calling aspect. Now that he doesn't have Brian Daboll looking over his shoulder, and also making the critical game time decisions throughout a football game.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's definitely something to keep a finger on the pulse here. Let's go to Zach's comments here. He goes, why let Dable get Dart from when our team is injured and Dart didn't have a full season with Dable didn't have a full season with and then he said, look what he did with Josh Allen. And then why let Dable draft Dart, then fire him when the team was injured? Oh, you just repeated that all over again and fixed it. Again, I feel like, because you and I looked at this, Joe, and looked at Dart, and we figured he was going to be the guy here for the Giants too. But I feel like once they see the talent that was there, you already knew Dart was kind of Dart. He's a hit. I don't think Dable was coaching him up into anything different than what he was. He obviously wasn't teaching him to slide and get down and not avoid contact. Think there's much more he's going to do to develop him that somebody else that comes in can do with Jackson Dart, because a lot of the raw talents are already there.
I'll say this: every player needs coaching, no matter what. Brian Daboll
I
That
get
was
that.
his guy. He hand selected Jackson Dart. He really wanted him. He's like,
Mhm.
"That's the guy I can win with." And if we continue to build him up and develop him, because here's the thing, is that back at Ole Miss, they played a hell of a lot of shotgun. They didn't do under the center snap. So there were other intricacies that Jackson Dart had to learn to be able to play in the NFL that was taught by Brian Daboll. And you could see that it almost looked flawless at times. So I think for
Mhm.
Daboll, I think it's the wrong guy to fire, first of all. I think this guy, what would you hire him for? You hired him to improve the offense. You hired him to score points, not to play defense. That's the D coordinator's job. He's the offensive minded guy. So I feel like he did his job after making the decision to go at Dart and no longer Russell Wilson. That was his decision thing. And then you started to see the little sparks that Jackson Dart was doing on the football field, not only throwing the football, but also utilizing his legs. Now, it's hard to say if it's hard to say that he didn't get coached to take slides. It's hard to say he didn't get coached to run out of bounds when need be, not take unnecessary hits. Because in the moment, Jackson Dart is a fierce competitor. And in the moment when the snap is snapped and it's up to him, he's going to do everything in his power to do so. This is more on Jackson Dart as a football player than it is coaching, I believe, because there's no way the coaches aren't teaching him to avoid hits. There's just no way. He is their first round draft pick. They want to protect him. So by firing Dayball, this kind of, in a sense, this could derail the offense, what they were able to build with him. And by not firing,
And I
go ahead,
No, go
by
ahead.
not
Go ahead.
firing the person that should be held accountable, the defensive coordinator, because when you look at it, what the Giants did this offseason, they did a great job. I feel like they signed the necessary players in free agency. They've drafted some players, and now that defense became a little bit more whole. It looked more substantial on that side of the ball with all these. You had a couple of big names that came in. You got Paulson Adebo. That was a nice ad. You know, Javon Holland on the safety spot. That was a nice ad. And now you come into, and now don't forget Abdul Carter, of course. But then now
Mhm,
you're
mhm.
looking at this defense and you're thinking before week 1, you're like, "Oh my god, this defense could be crazy good." And now for the sides to flip-flop where the offense looks better, not the defense. And even though you got all this talent, why are we blaming Brian Daboll? Why aren't we blaming the defense that keeps letting wins slip away? That's just my thing.
No, and I get that, and then ultimately it falls on the head coach too. But I get the defensive coordinator. I wouldn't even mind it if, again, yeah, they start just picking guys off one at a time. Shane Bowen, defense, yeah, that's your job. You got to get that done. Yeah, sure, boom. But I think they were just kind of done with the same old that he's been giving them. Again, the erraticness, the ups and downs, the lows, the way he's handling media, everything in the building that I'm hearing, it was just saying it's just not working here. You got it. Let's get this. Let's get everybody straight on the same mindset and just hit the reset button. And I think that, say, big name out there, right? The coordinator for the Washington Commanders,
Mhm.
Cliff Kingsbury. I feel like you put Cliff Kingsbury's offense onto this team, Jackson Dart can fit just nicely in there, sort of like what Jaden Daniels does here too. And I think you can have success
I think
still.
Jackson Dart can fit any offense. I don't think he's limited to a West Coast or anything like
No, and
that.
I get that. But this is what I'm saying though too. You can have just as well player development here with somebody else that's more even keel and not causing an issue within an
You can.
organization.
I mean, what's to say? We're never going to know the answer to that. Like Brian Daboll, yeah, was he emotional? Sure. I like. I mean, personally, I like to see firing my coaches, and they lose their shit when you screw up. You know what I mean? They commend you when you do well. Um, I liked that part of Brian Daboll, but I mean, honestly, like if you want a more even keel guy, a guy that's not going to be yelling in your face, a guy that's just going to kind of be like, "Oh, it's okay." I mean, go for it. But Cliff Kingsbury would be a good candidate to start off with. Definitely would be a guy, and I think he's not going to have a short line for his services by any means.
Oh yeah, yeah,
A lot
exactly.
of people
Hmm.
around the league are already talking about how he's the number one candidate for a head coaching gig when it comes time, and rightfully so. The guy is
Hmm.
definitely a great offensive mind. He's had head coaching experience too. I think he was wronged in Arizona where he previously coached. I feel like
Hmm.
they made the wrong
Hmm.
decision where they fired the coach and not got rid of Kyler Murray. And actually, now the
Hmm.
funny thing is now they're having talks about maybe moving on from Kyler Murray now. So,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
but anyways, um, but for the Giants, like, there's definitely plenty of candidates that are gonna be out there that are gonna be intriguing too. Another guy that I'm actually kind of even though he's got a limited time as an offensive coordinator, I really like, the guy from Tampa Bay, the OC from Tampa Bay.
Hmm.
In one
Yep,
season,
yep.
this season, currently, you see how well that offense is still running, and that's without Liam Cohen. Liam Cohen, who originally was the OC, went to Jacksonville, and that Tampa Bay offense is still lighting it up. You know what I mean? They're pulling off from behind wins and it's really exciting. So that's another candidate. I think his name is Grissom, something like that. Um,
Mhm,
but
mhm.
he's a guy that I'm actually kind of excited about. For him to get his opportunity, even though he's only been an OC for 1 year. Maybe it's too soon. Maybe teams might shy away from him because of it. But, uh, again, there's gonna be other guys. Joe Brady from the Bills, again, another offensive
Yep,
coordinator
yep.
who has put his time in. He, was with the Carolina Panthers. I think he did well there. Now he goes to the
Mhm,
Buffalo Bills.
mhm.
He's doing well there. So it's definitely going to be a crazy
Yeah, and who
offseason
knows, maybe
for
Joe
sure.
Shane goes to the well again, right?
I think, Joe Shane,
Yeah,
who know
yeah,
man,
but
I'll say this, Joe Shane,
if he goes to the
I
well
don't
again, though,
think
I
Joe
don't know.
Shane is safe. I don't think he is.
I
We'll wait and see.
That's not what
We'll
I'm
wait and
hearing.
see by the
Yeah,
end of the
yeah,
season because yeah, you might not be hearing it now, but who knows? Because we're not gonna find
yeah.
that out until the owner speaks up.
The problem is well, the thing is, John Mara, he's
Mhm,
very ill, right? He so the next that would be up would be, his brother Chris Mara
mhm,
in charge. Him and also, I think it's Tim McDonald is another guy that's invested into that team, close to the organization, close to ownership, part ownership, but not a big one like Steve Tisch and the Maras. A strong relationship with Joe Shane, so he's kind of embedded himself into there, found his
yeah,
spot, you know what I mean, and nestled right into close to ownership, and that's what I think is kind of kept him going. But like you said, if they still end up losing though, I mean, that can burn bridges there. That can burn it
yeah.
right there. So, well, we'll see, but I don't
Th
know. From what I'm hearing, I mean, he's
and
pretty
Zach,
nestled in there.
real quick, I just
Uh,
wanted to touch on what Zach,
sure.
commented, said, "We should have kept Wink Martindale." Um, could have kept him, but it would have been very difficult.
Yeah,
When you fire your
very
coaching
difficult.
staff, everybody's a free agent, and Wink Martindale made the move
Mhm.
to go to college, and now he's a D coordinator for Notre Dame, and he's killing it in college football. So, um, it would have been nice to keep him, but it's extremely difficult. No matter who you hire as your head coach, they want to bring in their guys. You know what I mean? So they got their
Mhm.
own guys that list that they want to go through. So that most likely was never going to happen.
Yeah, yeah. Talk about the list and talk about Notre Dame too. I heard they are interested in the
From
head
Notre Dame,
coach
Marcus
of
Freeman.
Notre Dame team is
Yep,
Marcus Freeman.
I
I've
heard of
heard
that
that's a
too.
name that they're interested in interviewing too.
But
So we'll see.
let's
We'll
see
see
if
what
they can
happens with
pay him
that.
enough to leave. He's in a really cushy
Yeah,
job, man.
yeah, exactly
Really
right.
cushy
Oh yeah,
job, and he
buddy.
gets paid well.
Yeah,
So
yeah, big time. Oh yeah, I know that the college game, man, and the college head coach job, man. That is a sweet,
yeah.
sweet spot. All right, Joe. We've talked about a lot of different subjects here, but let's get right down to the picks here. and knock this show out. Pick along with us, Zach. Everybody else out there too. Out there, we appreciate you guys. Light it up in the comments.
A tough one tomorrow night.
And play along. Again, all these games are kind of like tough and like in between, like because I don't know what I'm getting out of any team here, right? And then put injuries on top of it too. Like look at the Jets, right? The Jets in New England tomorrow night. You want to say New England?
Right.
They're on a are they on a 7-game winning streak? I think
Yes.
it's huge, and they're again top of the division. But this is a division rival. You know those teams are always those games are close, no matter who they are.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. Jets, they seem like they got some fight in them now. You know, and what's funny is again with some of these teams that won. They're teams that traded someone away or got rid of somebody, and sometimes less is more for these guys, right? You know, and it just happens that way, right? You know, you're thinking here they're selling the farm or they're doing this or whatever, and then they can pull out a victory or so. I think the Jets are going to try and keep this close just because it's a defensive one and a divisional game. It's going to be a little closer, but New England at home, tough to beat, especially in prime time. And the way Drake May is playing right now, you got to roll with New England still on this one against the Jets.
This game is really going to come down to, can the Jets run the football? That's really what it's going to come down to. I mean, Breece Hall has been amazing for the Jets and continues to be. I mean, the thing that's really hurting the Jets right now is the fact that they traded away Quinnen Williams, one of the best D tackles in football. They traded away Sauce Gardner, one of the most young, promising corners in football. And now what do you got? You got holes there. So, I mean, and Garrett Wilson, by the way, will not be playing in this game. He got hurt last week again. So this team is in shambles. They know it. That's why they had their little bit of a fire sale, and boy, did they cash in. Now let's see what they can do with those draft picks. But the New England Patriots, they're on a completely different spectrum. They are on the winning spectrum. They have turned this team around in 2 years. And now looking for the horizon there to compete in the playoffs. Give me the Patriots without a doubt. I don't think this game is going to be necessarily a blowout, but I do think that the Patriots win handily. I think they're going to win handily, whether it be probably, I'm going to say 14 to 17 points they win by in the margin.
All of a sudden bottomed out. Don't know what happened there. Sorry guys, we're sorry with the technical issues here, but it was glitching a little bit again. We're coming out, but let's move on to the next game Sunday. At 9:30 a.m. We've got another early international game. We've got the Washington Commanders and the Miami Dolphins. Miami, again, pulling out a big victory against the Buffalo Bills here, playing with some heart here, showing something, seeing what they could have done. You know what I mean? Keys to winning, and Miami at home. I think, you know, that being that humidity and that weather, I think that ends up really playing a factor in some of these games. Again, some of these teams. Washington is going to have Mariota be as good of a team. I know Dan Quinn's even been questioned. I think I'm going to still roll with Miami here to pull off. Is it an upset win against the Washington Commanders? But I'm going to go with the Miami Dolphins on this one. How about that to get a win in here? You know, I think it's in Joe. We got issues here with Joe again. For some reason, he's not connecting. I'm going to try and pull him off the screen and then back, and then maybe I can get him back. All right, next let's move on to the Carolina Panthers and the Atlanta Falcons. Carolina, again, disappointing loss last week. Again, they can win against a really good team, and then they lose against a terrible team again. They're my Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde type of team, right? You don't know what you're getting every single week out of this team. You know what I'm saying? You're like, oh, this defense is really good. And then you're like looking at the offense, I'm like, just run the ball. You've got Rico Dowdle, you got Chuba Hubbard when he's healthy. As long as Bryce Young can control the football, not turn the football over, and you've got even some good young wide receivers, Tet McMillan, Leggett. You've got a lot here at 5-5, and they what their record is, right? You look at them at 5-5, it's there. We don't know. They're in middle. 5 wins that are great, 5 that are just even debacles. What is this team? We still don't know. And then you've got the Atlanta Falcons, but the Falcons dropping 4 straight. Again, starting off pretty strong. You've got that good, defense here, the pass rush you've been waiting for. You've got Drake London. You've got finally Kyle Pitts getting involved in the offense too. Bijan Robinson running the football. You've got everything there. But the quarterback right now, the quarterback is holding you back at this point, not getting the ball out to his receivers. The offense is struggling here. That is not the key for this team here. They're not doing well.
Oh, geez. Come on.
Well, they need to win, though, here. They've lost the Carolina Panthers, a team to where we don't know what is going on. What is this team? I would like to say Carolina in this one, just because I feel like they do have a good enough defense and their offense is pretty good here too. But Atlanta, they're due. Can they right the ship? They should be able to, and they should at home. So I think this is a close game again. I tell you what, it's probably going to be within a field goal. But I am going to go with the Atlanta Falcons on this one to win at home in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. I love that stadium too, man. That stadium is such a beautiful stadium. So, all right, we've got Christian Dickinson in the house with us tonight. He's telling me that until we hold on to a 10+ win, we can't wear that stuff no more. Yeah, he's talking about my gear here, my Giants gear that I got on. Yeah, it's crazy, man. I don't know. I represent all the time. Yeah, and today I don't know. I'm in a blue. I go with the blue. But and then yeah, absolutely. Zach says I got Miami in a close one. Jaden out and McLaurin out too as well. Yeah, that's a key. I don't trust Mariota at all. All right, we're still having technical issues. I'm still trying to figure out with Joe how I can get him back. For some reason, I can't click anything on here too. So I appreciate you guys sticking with me here through the technical difficulties. I don't know what's going on tonight. I know they've been working on upgrading the Spectrum, fiber optic system outside and stuff. So that could be it, the work that they've been doing here. So stick with us. I'm sorry again for the issues that we are having, but I appreciate you guys again dropping in the comments and play along here with me. So yeah, I've got Atlanta in this one. Joe's back for me, so he's there. I can't see him at all, so I don't know what the hell is going on here at the mothership for me. But I can't click anything, so I don't know what is going on here. So, but we've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Buffalo Bills. All right, Bay just had a tough loss here, right? In a tough one, and you see, Baker Mayfield doing what he can, right, to keep this team in it at times, and really put everything out on the field, try and do things with his legs. And he just fell a little bit short. And that's the way this team has been all season. Look at the wins that they've had. They haven't been easy wins. They've been knockout, drag out, kind of edge teams out barely. In the end, grind them out wins. And that could be good. That could build character. That can get you ready for the playoffs. But in some of these other games, man, you're going to be on the losing end of that sometimes too. And I mean, this is what's happened with that team. So next, they've got the Buffalo Bills, who just fell now to who they even lost to. I can't even remember who they just they lost to the Miami Dolphins. Duh. I lost to the Miami Dolphins here in a shocker. They need to bounce back. You know, we're talking today about maybe firing Sean McDermott, about maybe, you know, they're not going to make it all the way. You know, they should have made moves at the trade deadline. They should have done something before the season started. And now they've got a must-win type of game here against a tough competitor in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And this is going to be a tough game here for Tampa, especially they've been in those close ones where they got to try and kind of drag these things out and get it out here. But ultimately, I think seeing as this game is going to be in Buffalo, I do have to side with the Buffalo Bills on this one with the home field advantage, especially if they're going to get some poor weather like we've been getting kind of in the Northeast here lately with some snow and things like that. Could become a factor here if Tampa Bay tries to roll in. So I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills on the wagon. All right. Still trying to get Joe to sign back in. Not sure what's going on. Again, I appreciate you guys out there. Don't know what's going on, but it's been one of those 10 nights, though, and I appreciate you guys. All right. Next, we've got the Houston Texans and the Tennessee Titans. Tennessee has dropped 7 straight games for the Tennessee Titans. It doesn't look like it's getting any easier here. They've got Houston, though, who I thought they were dead to rights even too, because Davis Mills, he's looked good at times in the past. And then this year, that first game, not looking so hot. So then I wasn't sure what they were going to do last week. And again, they got off to a rough start, but ultimately he made enough plays to get him back into it. And that defense, the defense is still a good defense here for that Houston team. And I still think maybe after it's all said and done, they're just, again, better than Tennessee. Tennessee's not a good game, not a good team. You know, they fired their head coach. They've got an interim coach trying to figure it out. So they've got their quarterback. So who knows who they're going to draft this year with that first overall, if they have it. And what do they address first, right? And this and the many holes that they have to fill. But I'm going to go easily here, I think, with the Houston Texans on this one to get a win against the Tennessee Titans. All right, Joe's still trying to bounce in and out. And again, I hope he can get back in here with us so we can hear his insight on this, because we always love it when Joe brings up his picks on it. And a lot of times they are much different than mine. The Chicago Bears should not have had a win last week. And I know Christian and Zach out there can relate to this. Again, another epic failure by the New York Giants, and somebody's head had to roll. And this time it had to be Brian Daboll on this one. And we're moving forward again. And I'm just afraid that this organization still is getting too comfortable with relationships that they're building and just hiring who they know. Who's the guy? Again, because they from him a traditional real shot to earn the job for next season, which scares the hell out of me. That scares me. And Joe Shane's still there trying to steer the ship and find that next head coach. When he, again, was asking his sons, his daughter, or whatever, who should he pick in the draft? Who should he do that? I'm like, are you serious right now? And should have probably took their advice at that point. Did not want Jackson Dart, but then Brian Daboll did. So Chicago pulling out some tough victories. They've played good at times, but again, it's been up and down. Minnesota, though, at this point, I like their defense, but I can't trust JJ McCarthy. He's just not playing good right now. He's not. It's not good. And it sucks for those other weapons out there that they have. So this is definitely going to be a close matchup. I think Chicago has enough to win this one. Minnesota being at home, it's tough to bet against them. But ultimately, I think I might have to go with Chicago on this one. Ben Johnson seems like he's kind of getting that offense going here. And I don't trust McCarthy to save my life at this point. So I'm going to roll with the Chicago Bears on this one. All right, next up, we've got the Green Bay Packers and the New York Giants. Just talked about the Giants again. Like I've been doing, I've been picking against the New York Giants every single week. Green Bay falters again on this past Monday. I don't know what the hell they're doing. It seems like they're very lackadaisical on offense. When they needed points, it seemed like that's when they were shining and getting it out there. But Jordan Love seems like his vision isn't there. He's not seeing guys or whatever. I don't know. And then on top of it, dumb plays. That fumble, not taking care of the football is key, and the turnovers key to them losing that game in a tough game that ultimately they should have won that game against the Philadelphia Eagles, and they squandered it. When you got the Eagles scoring basically only 0 points for a full half, and you don't win that game, what that defense is doing, it's embarrassing, and Green Bay, this is a great team to play right now. The Giants interim head coach, trying to get things right. They're just trying to look on to the next season. You've got Jameis Winston, who also, yes, he can score touchdowns, but he's known as the turnover king as well. So with that being said, it's easy for me. It's the Green Bay Packers in this one. All right, let's see if I can finally bring Joe back. There we go. Joe's back. Joe, I think it's just on me, buddy. I don't know what's going on. I'm dropping in and out over here. So it's nothing to do on your end. Something's just all of a sudden slow and I'm dropping in and out. I don't know. And I know that they have been working, Spectrum has been working on the lines out here and stuff like that. So I'm wondering if they're upgrading their thing or something. It's messing with it. Just happens to be tonight, right?
Tell them to do that shit on Monday.
Yeah, I know, right? Monday when nobody's but I have been going through the picks. Some people have been going around with picks with me too. Christian had chimed in again, telling me that I shouldn't be wearing Giants gear anymore. And I made my picks. I went with, after we lost each other, I went with Miami against Washington, Atlanta over Carolina, Buffalo over Tampa, and then I went with Houston over Tennessee, Chicago over Minnesota, and also. Do you concur?
Okay,
Or do you have a few differences?
I only have two different ones. So I'm going to go with the Vikings against the Bears. And what was the other one? Oh, and the Buccaneers. I'm going to take Buccaneers over the Bills.
The Bucks. All right. Excellent. All right. We shall see again in any of those. The way this league is.
Yeah.
All right. Now the Cincinnati Bengals.
You know what, Jim? This year, I've taken a different view on picking games. I'm at the point where I just don't give a shit if I lose all the games because none of this makes sense this year.
It is just a hodgepodge of picks and just games. It's nuts. All right, so Cincinnati, Pittsburgh again. It's not Aaron Rodgers' fault too, and I know a lot of people will say, "Oh, he's old, he's walked." Dude, he did everything he could to win that game, and his receivers failed him miserably. And it's sad too because again, how are you not getting DK Metcalf the ball more?
DK couldn't get open.
Freiermuth, you could rely on, you get it to them, but no, like other people, and again, his other guys, when they're wide open, that interception was ridiculously stupid. Like, you should not have that. So that you see the look in Aaron Rodgers' face. He's just coming off the line, swearing nonstop. Like, dude, what are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I'm surprised he's not calling Randall Cobb right now, Joe.
Randall Cobb don't want to be bothered anymore.
Give me some of my old guys. Yeah, I know, right? But I'm serious, man. It's like, dude, he just can't, because that's him. He likes guys he can trust, and he's having trust issues right now. But they are home. They do play better there. I'm going to see this defense kind of light it up here and kind of bring a spark back here against the Cincinnati team. Yes, they've got talent there, but again, that defense on the other end, very lackluster. I think Aaron Rodgers, if the wide receivers could get it going here, I think, again, a mixture of Jaylen Warren and Gainwell on top of this too is a key to winning this game too, and the time in this one in possession. I think this should be a possession game for Pittsburgh. I'm going to go with the Steelers here at home.
Well, I will say this: the Bengals and Steelers always have close games. Always. It's always going to be
Mhm.
down to the wire. They know each other extremely well because obviously they play each other 2 times a year. Um, this is going to be no different. Where and something that I noticed about Pittsburgh recently, they have moved um, one of their corners. Trying to remember who it was. They moved one of their corners to play safety instead, and it seems to be working better for them. Um, even though the Steelers defense has improved a little bit, I'm sorry. The corners are too physical at times. They're a little bit grabby. Joey Porter Jr. is well known for that. Um, and I gotta say, this is an awesome matchup quarterback wise. You got old Aaron Rodgers and you got old Joe Flacco. It's hilarious. Um,
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
like I'm gonna give the nod, even though I don't know. I don't there's something about it where like I keep getting pulled towards Cincinnati for this game for whatever reason. So I'm gonna go with the Bengals on this, having that prolific offense. I don't think they're definitely not gonna have a major issue scoring. I feel like again, like you pointed out, Jim, like the defense is really going to be for Cincinnati. Do they show up like the Miami Dolphins did against the Bills? Or are they gonna be the same old Cincinnati Bengals defense? That's gonna really
Mhm.
be the dictator of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, next to the Los Angeles Chargers and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Oh man, at this point too, Jacksonville, yeah, that's another team. They invested in their quarterback, and it does seem like he's just not it, right? They've got a, D can play solid, and just it all depends on him, which way this team goes, and it's not very good. Where Los Angeles and the Chargers, they've got a pretty good record here with 7 wins. And I've knocked them a few different times because they
Mhm.
tend to keep games close when they don't need to be. You know
Right.
what I mean? They've got talent. They've got even the veteran Keenan Allen now playing well. But that McConkey on top of it, even with the injuries to Omarion Hampton, Vidal has really played well for them in the backfield too for them. So even too. So I think this team is just a better team overall than Jacksonville. Again, I can't trust them as far as I can throw them in this one. I think the game is going to be kind of slightly closer than it really should be because that's the way that the Chargers have kind of done this. But better defense, better offense altogether, better head coach. At least at this point, I'm going with the Chargers on this one.
Yeah, this game is gonna be close, I feel like, just like you mentioned. But also I feel like, I don't know, man. I feel like I think the Jaguars have a little bit better of a defense than the Chargers. Even though they had got a lot of big names and, they got the Khalil Mack out there, they got, all these different
Mhm.
guys, and they seem to be flying around the football field. But I think the offense definitely goes to the Chargers, hands down. So it's like it's gonna really be an interesting, battle between both these organizations this week. Give me the Chargers because I don't have any faith in Trevor Lawrence. I'm sorry. I've been,
Mhm.
kind of
Yep.
pounding the table about this for the last 3 years, saying that Jacksonville did not find their savior, did not, you know, have the guy to get them
Nope.
to the next level and beyond. He's just not the guy. And the sad thing is that they just recently, a couple years ago, signed him to a lucrative extension. So, he's not going nowhere anytime soon. Or at least we think anyway.
Yeah, you tied yourself
So
to them. So that's where you put that anchor down. You drop that anchor down, and then you end up being a sinking ship here.
that's right.
Um, yeah, absolutely. So Seattle and the Rams, this is got to be, I don't know, if not for Philadelphia, Detroit, this is the game of the week for me.
Mhm.
Seattle and the Rams. They're tight right here in the division, 1-2. Oh my goodness. The Rams and Matthew Stafford looking outstanding. This is the team we wanted to see.
Mhm.
The veteran Hall of Fame, future Hall of Famer, Devontae Adams there too. Puka Nacua, he's an animal. Even Kyron Williams in the running game. I mean, the defense, it's just
Yeah.
great. And then Seattle again, their defense, what they're doing. Sam Darnold having the time of his life, it just not even he's playing well, but even when not called upon to have to do it. The running game's getting going here. Kenneth Walker, and Jackson Smith and Jigba. The big question about how is the team going to respond with moving on from DK, Tyler Lockett, him being focused on the guy. They responded well, and he is leading the league in his receptions and in yardage too. And an outstanding player and monster here in Seattle, what they're doing. This is going to be, but for me, probably the game of the week.
Absolutely. It has to be the game of the week. I mean, if it's not, it's a
Mhm.
crime. It's sacrilegious.
It's a crime.
It's ridiculous. It's erroneous on all accounts.
That's erroneous.
But I gotta say, like for the Seattle offense, the way they've come together, Sam Darnold especially, like the chemistry he's built with that team, you just see like they have ascended to a level that I don't think they expected to make this year. I really don't. I don't think they expected to be this one of the best, teams in the NFC, and at this point in the season, being thought of as possible Super Bowl contender at this point. And for the Seattle Seahawks, the defense is really coming to its own as well. Adding, we talked about it with the Bills. Where's the young up and coming defensive players that they added? Well, Seattle did that for the last 4 years now, and now you're seeing the results of it. So I really love that. And then the fact that, listen, talk about pushing the chips to the table. They also made a trade. They traded for wide receiver from the Saints, Rashid Shaheed, one of the faster receivers in the game today. And you're pairing him up with JSN, Jackson Smith and Jibba, who's been killing the league at will. Oh my Lord. This offense has got so much better. And you have that running attack, like you mentioned, Kenneth Walker, but also Zach Charbonnet's coming into his own as well. So this team has come full circle to this point, and they've built this team to beat the Rams. That's what they've done. They knew that they were the biggest competition for them, and they've definitely built this roster to combat the LA Rams roster. I love that this game could go literally either way. And I think this is only going to be decided by the end of the game. Whoever has the ball last is going to have that opportunity to get the win. Give me the Seattle Seahawks against the Rams, and I understand I could go with the Rams too, but I'm going to go with the younger guys. It's the young boys club with Seattle. I'm going to go with them. They're all over the football field. Darnold's playing at a high level. And then on the Rams side, the flip side of it all, you got a couple of vets. Puka Nacua is killing the league as well. Matt Stafford, who's an aging quarterback, but man, is he threading the needle or what? Last 3 weeks, he has the record now. The last 3 weeks, he's had thrown 4 touchdowns in each week, but with no interceptions. Absolutely insane. So they're a high-flying offense as well. They also have a very good young defense. This game is going to be out of this world. I cannot wait to watch it. It's going to be impeccable.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Rams on this one. And like I said, it's going to be a great game to watch, though. San Francisco, Arizona. Arizona slipping and sliding. Just as we were talking about moving on from Kyler Murray, right? And then Jacoby Brissett probably has the worst game of his life. 2 strip sacks. You're like, oh, dude, like, what are you doing? But again, offensive line not holding up, though, too, getting pressure. I had hopes for Arizona again, and again they just epically fail me again. So we'll see what happens when they rebuild next year. And San Francisco, I toot my horn again, and what they've been doing too with Mac Jones, and that's what I mean. He's up in the top 10 in yardage, and as a QB and everything too, playing his best. I mean, I think in his career as a backup. Isn't that amazing, right? But in a good organization too, that has a good, offensive coordinator / head coach too on top of it, guy who wanted to draft him, and then when pressure came down, went with Trey Lance, so he must have lost a bet or something, right? But holding it down, and as people are starting to get healthy and stuff, and that's what's funny is when you got a guy like that and you've got your starting quarterback out, you feel a little less pressure to be like, well, if he's not 100%, I don't really feel
No.
like I need to bring him back right now then. You know what I mean? This guy can hold him down. So, I mean, what a great opportunity. And still, this team being right in striking range with the next two teams. So, the last two teams we just talked about. So, one of those teams is going to fall. So, if San Francisco can get a victory out of this one, which I feel they will against the Arizona Cardinals, that makes that division even more
Yeah, I
interesting.
mean, and I would go as far as to say is you don't bring Brock Purdy back even when he's healthy. Mac Jones is playing at such a high level for the San Francisco 49ers. Why disturb that? Why yank him out as soon as Purdy is healthy? No, he's got the hot hand right now. Let it roll. Let it ride. When Purdy is in fact 100% healthy, not like last time. I feel like he came back too soon, ended up getting re-injured, and now was out for more time. Make sure 100% he is healthy. There's no rush to bring him back. The offense at least is playing really well for this team with Mac Jones as the leader, and they're starting to get a little healthier. Ricky Parasol, I don't know if he's going to be back this week or not, but it seems like he's trending towards it. And if they are able to get Ricky Parasol on this offense, along with Juwan Jennings, with Christian McCaffrey in the backfield, this offense is going to be tough to stop. Uh, and then for the Cardinals, uh, again, it's not pretty on offense, and they are going to be without Marvin Harrison Jr. this week. He had appendicitis surgery, so he will
Appendicitis.
be missing this week.
Mhm.
So they won't have him at their disposal. So it looks like it's going to be Trey McBride and the rest of the gang. Um, Defensively, for both teams, Niners again, they're injury riddled on defense, absolutely injury riddled. So this is the part where I think the Cardinals could kind of stay in it right to the end, maybe have an opportunity to win it in the end by a field goal or something like that. The Cardinals defense, way more confidence in them. They are definitely healthier. They are a tough team. They're not going to give up and not go away with a fighting chance. Give me the Arizona Cardinals against the Niners in an upset.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Interesting. Interesting. I'd like to. I don't know. That'd be crazy. That would blow my mind. But my mind is blown a lot this year, right, Joe?
Right.
I don't know how much mind I have left over. I got brains out everywhere over here. The Baltimore Ravens and the Cleveland Browns. Baltimore. Do they fall to the Browns? I mean, because again, they almost did the last time they played, right? It was really tight. They almost had a loss in that one. But coming back in the end and getting the victory. Again, they're trying to surge back into this division with a big win against, a division rival will help and keep Cleveland down at the bottom. Again, Lamar Jackson banged up a little bit and stuff, but I feel like, again, they're getting healthier. They're the better team overall. I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens on this one to make that surge.
Yeah,
back into
the
this.
offense is adequate for the Cleveland Browns. Not great, not and they are working with a rookie quarterback, so kind of
Rookie
put that into
quarterback.
the equation.
Mhm.
It's tough. We've already seen signs of Kevin Stefanski's offense not working, no matter who's at the quarterback position. So, got to be a little bit concerning on offense. Defensively, we know the Browns are going to bring it. The Ravens, again, like you mentioned, that defense is way healthier than it used to be, and it seems like they're starting to, catch their stride here. Lamar Jackson, he did miss practice today, but they said it was more of like a rest day for him. He's going to come back and practice tomorrow. Should be good to go. Give me the Baltimore Ravens.
All right. Nice. All right. Next, the Kansas City Chiefs and the Denver Broncos. I'm sure when they saw this one down the lineup here, they're thinking 425. This is going to be a great matchup. This young, defensive, team, of the Denver Broncos kind of come back on what they did last year against Kansas City. And Kansas City, again, not very good record, but it seems like now as they start to get healthier or even people back from parole and things are, guys, back from having mischief outside of the field, seemed to get things back in the roll. Yes, they lost to the Bills, but I mean, it was a tough game here. And you're going to take that on a coin toss anytime of who's going to win that game, I would say. So going against a tough Denver defense, so it's going to be a tough one again for Patrick Mahomes, but he's going to have Kelsey. He's going to have these guys, that outlet to get to. I am concerned about their running game, though. I am concerned about the Chiefs' running game and to be able to run effectively against Denver. But Denver's offense, we talked about it last night on the Blindside Blitz. And again, I haven't been a big fan of Bo Nix, and it was more clear in that Raiders game. Again, they're rushing 4, and he's got a clean pocket, and he's feeling jittery, like it's swarming around him, and just missing throws here and there. He feels like the only way he can make plays is if he's got to get out of there and get open space and it's clear around him and he can see it and go, or take off with his legs, where I feel like that's where he excels, uses his athleticism. So if you're taking that away from him, that you're only going to get half the quarterback.
For the Broncos offense, it's different this year. Sean Payton is not calling the same way he was last year. And it makes me kind of question what's happening with Bo Nix as far as his relationship with Sean Payton. Is he calling it too careful? And it seems to be that a lot of times these very similar routes that they're running is being picked up by all these defenses right now this year, and there is nobody to throw to. They're all covered a lot of the time, and that's what's getting Bo Nix a little shaky in the pockets, because he can't find a guy open. Regardless whether he runs out of the pocket or not, I don't think there's really anybody that open for him to throw to, and that's why it's not working. So maybe they shake things up going against Kansas City. They know the Chiefs very well, so they know what works, what doesn't work. That's going to be up to Sean Payton and how he's going to call this game. Defensively, yes, they're the best defense, in my opinion, in the league when healthy, though. Patrick Surtain missed last week. I don't know if he's missing this week too, or if that was just kind of like one of those, nagging injury type things where he can come back. So definitely going to have to evaluate as the week progresses with the injuries for the Broncos. But the Chiefs, now that like you said, like they got back Rashee Rice, they get, Pacheco went down with an injury. So again, got to monitor him too. Like, is he going to miss this week? You know, uh, and you mentioned about how their run game is almost non-existent, and that's because against good defenses, they can't run. They're not that type of team. They are a high volume passing offense, and that's where Mahomes thrives. So I think this team, and then you look at their defense, very complete. They're the healthier team coming into this matchup. So I'm going to go with KC in this one.
Yeah, I'm going to do the same on this one. I think Kansas City just has what it takes here to get it done overall. And Denver, they've been lucky to get some of these wins and get this streak going. I think this is where it runs out for them. You know what I mean? Next up, we've got here for Sunday Night Football, Detroit Lions and the Philadelphia Eagles. Again, after that Rams game, I say this one is the next one for me. Detroit and Philadelphia. This is probably would hope is going to be the NFC Championship game when it comes playoff time,
hope.
right? And to see these two guys, he has knockout, drag out, that Detroit doesn't cough up another one. Last year they were the number 1 seed and just got beat, easy one and done right out of it. Dan Campbell taking over, calling the plays, and look at this again, putting up ridiculous amounts of points here. And against a Philly team that's plays tight. Like those games aren't ever blowouts, right? You watch Philly this year, it's a close, low-scoring game. Can they hold Detroit to minimal points here? And I really don't think they can, even in this one. So I think Detroit's going to outplay Philadelphia. It's going to be tough here at home. Those fans get crazy too, but Philadelphia hasn't really shown a whole lot to me. And when it comes to playing like a competition that should be up to their level, they get real lucky and kind of squeak out some wins. So I don't think Philadelphia is the team of last year that won the Super Bowl. Detroit, I think, is just as good as last year. but they've got to win these types of games, which they haven't proven yet. So this is a prove it week for me, and I hope they can, and they should be able to. I'm going to go with Detroit
Yeah,
on this one.
the Eagles aren't the same as last year's team. A little bit different. Some personnel guys moved on. You think of Milton Williams, one of their better D tackles. He moved on to New England. You think of um, Josh Sweat, the pass rusher. He moved
Mhm,
on, went to
mhm,
Arizona. So, like, yeah,
mhm,
CJ
mhm,
Gardner Johnson, he moved on because of indifferences with the D coordinator. So, like, yeah, it's not the same exact team, and they're still missing that other element at corner. They have Quentin, you know, um, I just freaking forgot his name. Quentin, the other corner. Yeah,
Quinson Mitchell.
what's that? Yeah,
Yep.
Quentin Mitchell.
Yeah,
Um,
Mitchell.
and
Yep.
then they're vacant on the opposite side. They still don't have an answer there. Adoree Jackson, not the guy. It's been proven. He doesn't
No.
fit their scheme anyway.
Yep.
So, maybe Jacorian Bennett, when he gets healthy and he comes back, maybe he can kind of fill that role for them. But until then, this team is a little bit different. Now, what's not that different is the offense. You still got all the same weapons. You got that offensive line. You got Saquon Barkley. This is going to be, to me, if it doesn't happen in this game, then I don't know if it ever will. We talked about AJ Brown earlier in the show. This might be that matchup. This might be where the Detroit Lions try to take away
Mhm,
Devonta Smith and Goddard, and you're going to have to
mhm,
give it to AJ Brown and give him the opportunity. So we'll see how this whole thing
mhm.
shakes out. But the real key to beating the Eagles, and Green Bay showed it, is that you have to limit the run game. You have to stop that run game.
Yeah.
If the
Mhm,
Lions
mhm.
are able to slow it down at least, make them punt a few times and then capitalize on that, I think that the Lions will be in good shape. That's really what it's gonna come down to, and you look on the other side for the Lions, the Eagles gotta contend with Gibbs, Jahmyr Gibbs. They gotta
Jahmyr
deal with
Gibbs, yeah.
him. They gotta deal with David Montgomery. They gotta deal with the other guys like Amon-Ra St. Brown. So this is going to be an awesome matchup. I can't wait to see this game Sunday night, but I too am gonna go with the Detroit Lions.
All right, here fine Monday Night Football. Everybody's excited to see this one.
I know I am.
The Dallas
I'll
Cowboys.
be drinking.
Yeah, I know. And Vegas, and that's what's fine though. But again, Vegas again able to keep that game close despite even
The
like the
odds.
play of
Never tell me the
yeah,
odds.
yeah. Well, no, I know. Yeah, yeah, I know, right? And Dallas, though, again, that offense here. So again, it looks like they're going to have a day against this
Mhm.
Vegas team. But I do still see again Max Crosby getting his pressures here on Dak Prescott. But right now, again, with the weapons that they have, I see them scoring here. But can Geno Smith just not turn the ball over here against a Dallas team that is not very good? You know, what I mean, they've got a little pressure up front. They've been trying to get more pass rushers, right, Joe? That was the whole thing. They went in the trade deadline. Got to get more pass rushers too on this. So will that be effective here against this Vegas team? To where again, lately, as of late too, Geno Smith just looking like the Geno from the Jets and
Well, that's
turnover
the thing
prone
is
and beat
they
up.
didn't even get pass rushers. They got a D tackle again. Like they just got another D tackle.
Yeah.
They traded for Kenny Clark
Yep.
earlier, and with
hmm
with the Micah Parsons trade, and now
hmm
they also traded for
hmm
another D tackle now in Quinton Williams, which is interesting.
hmm
So and
hmm
they're going to have to kind of lock those guys up, make sure they stay in Dallas after you invest the capital that you did to get them there. Now you better keep them. So it's a very intriguing position that the Cowboys took, and they also got Logan Wilson, one of the better linebackers from Cincinnati,
Yeah.
who they brought over. Who
hmm
crazy to
hmm
think that the guy was benched, made no sense to me. But now he's in
Yeah.
Dallas. He's going to start this week. He's going to show off what he can do, and this is something that is a major need of the Cowboys is linebacker. So I like what the Cowboys did at the trade deadline and what they're able to do. They're hoping to shore up that front to stop teams from running the football on them, and that's going to be the thing. Is the Raiders can't throw the ball. They've proven that. Like Geno Smith continually turns the ball over, and I'm sorry, but like maybe you should think about changing quarterbacks. Maybe you got Kenny Pickett, you got Aiden O'Connell now returning from injury. Maybe you do that this game. I don't know if they'll do it right from the start, but do something different. And then the Raiders defense played better last week. They got a couple of guys back that they were hoping to have in week 1. Came back. You saw the defense play a little bit more stingier, but still not there. This is a Cowboys offense that they just put up points. Like I think this is going to
Mhm.
get away from the Raiders early, and I think it's gonna just kind of snowball after that. Um, Raiders are gonna do what they can do, but let's face it, this team is in disarray at the moment, coaching staff wise, personnel wise. It's just gonna be an ugly game. Give me the Cowboys.
Yep, absolutely. Yep. Yeah, I've got the Cowboys in this one as well. And there you go. There's our picks for week 11. Who knows how
We'll
it's going to
find
go?
out.
It could be totally, completely upside down. But yeah. And you and I have got a bunch of different ones too. So who knows? One of us will be sitting there looking at it and be like, dude, what the
Oh,
hell
we're gonna
happened?
know
But
what happened.
that is the NFL this week,
We're
right?
gonna know what happened.
Uh,
We're gonna be like, yep,
Absolutely. So yeah, again, thank you everybody for joining us tonight. We really appreciate you, especially going through all the technical issues we had and stuff like that and sticking with us. I know we had a bunch of views out there. We had a bunch of comments too. So we love you guys out there. Definitely appreciate the staying with us and then also the support you guys give us every single week and why we do this. So thanks a lot. You guys enjoy the games this weekend and we'll see you
later.
guys in the next one.